Okay, let's go have a look. Submissions. 151. Turn 1. Lamp hop. Good. Huh? Come on. One second. Okay. Looking good. Good, 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 good. Except David. What happened? There. David, it's not 1280 by 720. So if you could re-export, please. Thank you.
I just figuring out that I didn't submit, but I already finished the work. So can I submit right now?
Yeah, hand it in. Hand it in right now, okay? And just let me know when it's in there. Okay, David, are you there? Is David there? Is David? Nope. Nope. Okay. All right. Okay. There we go. Oh boy. Sorry, I'm just moving all the Zoom stuff that you guys don't see so I can see. Okay, so David, it's not landing, right? So you got to watch the landing. It's sliding here. So lock that base. Here, you need an arc, right? So the arc, right? Spacing's very even and it's got a very strong asymmetric tilt to it. So instead of having a parabola that's going up and then over, it's kind of doing this and then this, and it kind of has a real flat trajectory. Also, this and this have the same timing. So there should be drag, there should be overlap. So one thing should lead and the other thing should follow, okay? Everything's landing. You're also slowing down, right, as you land. So that's not how gravity works, right? When you bounce up, again, this little bounce, right, very triangular and again, very evenly spaced. 1, 2, 3, 4 frames up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames down. There's even a little bit of a curve in there as you swoop the ground and it's not locking there. So still needs a lot of work. Okay, David? Alejandro. Okay. All right, so that first stop is just a bit abrupt. So just right here, what I would do is have the base hit first. So have the base hit first, and then have the head of the lamp follow through. So it'll be like 1 and then 2. So then you would have the neck compress and then the head could follow through.
Like
1,
action
2.
and reaction, right? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Just so it doesn't feel like everything just screeches to a halt, just all one frame. So it's okay for the base if you want to have that locked, we could kind of buy that. But for this, it just feels like everything just stops dead really quick. Now, right here, the thing that's odd about the path is you get a tangent. So it feels like the chin of the lamp actually hits the corner and then bounces up. So it's just in an odd spot. So what I might do is instead try to arc that a little bit. Right now it feels very sharp. So what you'd want to do is maybe arc a little bit up and over just to soften that a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, just to soften that a little bit. Ah, what did I do? I hit the wrong button. Okay, and then that's okay looking down. What you could try to do is you could ease out of this a little bit more. If you look at the distance you move from here to here, that's a big distance. So I would try to do is ease out a little bit more gracefully. So just barely move, just a little movement, then pick up speed and then slow down a little bit more like you did over here.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. What did I do? Oh my goodness. Sorry. And same thing here, when you look up, it snaps to a still, right? So what you could do is you could go up a little bit more and then settle. So it's like a slight up and down. So one thing that's a real sneaky trick is if you have 2 points in the graph editor the same,
Uh-huh.
then all you need to do is just curve them like this and then put a new point there, right? So
Okay.
that up. So what happens is if this is the translate Y, you'll just go up and then come back down. So it'd be like this and then this. So you have this new high point, and you basically had the same thing, and you just kind of push up a little bit and then settle back down. So it gives you the overshoot settle. Okay, the jump's looking all right. I think here you have two poses that are the same. This one and this one, they're almost the same. So that makes it feel slower. So I would get rid of this one, hang on to that one.
Okay.
So you just get to here and then boom. And then for this, I would probably try to bend the neck a little bit and then rotate this down to make it feel like this has kicked up.
Okay.
And then to the high point, that's looking good. You could probably start to rotate the base up a little bit more. And I would probably try to keep the head looking a little bit more where it's going, and then drag the head up just before landing, but kind of make it feel like it's not sort of looking up at the sky, all right, until the very end where sort of the force of landing takes over.
Okay.
You have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 frames to go from here to here. That feels like too many. So you could probably, again, maybe you could just take 2 frames to have this hit the ground. So it goes clomp, and then you can still have the time for the base, sorry, the head to follow through. So with the base, I would have it kind of hit and then click, click, 2 frames, just boom, it's down. And then you lift off. And I think here, I would keep the base locked to the ground as long as possible until the neck yanks it off the ground. That'll make it feel really heavy, like it just sticks there and then just gets pulled off the ground. Okay.
So I move the body and while
Yeah.
they,
So this you would hold until you get just almost to here. So just when you have just a little bit,
you'd
you're
be
running
there,
out of
like,
room.
stick it.
Even here, if the neck isn't straight, I would keep it locked flat. And then it's just that moment where the neck is pulling straight that pulls that up. And then here, watch the spacing. It's a bit even. So there should be big spacing. So what you could do is kill this one, and just go from there to there. You're on the ground and then tilting up, and then boom, big spacing, and then lift up. Okay?
Okay. It's just like erasing and making curves.
Yeah, just remove
Yeah.
stuff.
My problem was that one, like at the beginning. I tried to fix it like that, like the stop, but
Right.
now I know how, like with the curve, and I put a new keyframe in the middle, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Nicole. That's looking good. Clomp, clomp. So it's just a little bit of chatter here. There's something going on there, right here. So what happens is you have this big increase, which makes us think that this thing is really moving quick, and then it slows down, right? So watch the spacing. So what I would do is instead of this, I would ease out. So I would really move this position lower and then get rid of this one, and then maybe have a pose like this where you have just a straight neck and you're just yanking on the chain really hard. Then you could probably get rid of this, go up even higher, and try to get the landing gear tucked under as quick as you can and tilt this back so it really feels like there's momentum. This is rotating back. Okay, and then here again, the spacing is a bit even here. So what I might do is kill this one and just see what happens. If you can go from here to here and then land, that might be stronger. And then right here, same note. So you have 2 poses that are kind of similar. So you have this big spacing pop, move this one closer. So if that's where you're coming from, ease out, right? Just barely move, just start going and then boom, big explosive liftoff. And I would experiment. Maybe you could kill this and just go right to here. See how big a pop you can sustain and still have it feel believable. Okay? Thanks, Nicole.
Okay, thank you.
Dominique. Your lap is a little bit lethargic. Boom, boom. That's kind of a fun texture. Boom, boom. It's just a little bit of a pop right here. So it's moving quite slowly. And then you have this big acceleration. So again, here, look at where you are and where you're going. And I would probably, instead of having it, right now it's arcing out this way, I would try to arc under. And the spacing was here. I would probably, again, favor where you're coming from. So you kind of go out that way and then sustain that bigger jump and then ease in. That's looking good. Now, the only thing here is when you move the lamp, I think you could probably push it a little bit, like a stronger sense of acceleration. This movement here feels very even. So it feels a little bit slow, kind of like underwater, right? So it feels like it's not accelerating. It doesn't need to be very much, but it just feels like so even. And it also feels very much like a straight line. So I would try to find an arc in here. So if you're gonna go this way, it's okay if you want to straighten the lamp a little bit more and kind of maybe tilt the head up. So it gives you just a little bit of an arc to follow that you kind of go down and up. And the same thing on the way back. It's a bit floaty, but evenly spaced. Jump's looking good. So you get a nice lift off. I think the only thing I would change is maybe the angle, because this feels like we're going this way. But if you look at where we go after, right, track this point. So you get kind of an S curve in here. Okay, so what I would do is maybe move this more like this. So lift a little bit higher up and then lead into that point, right? And right over here, there's a bit where this starts to get lined up here and then it goes back. So if you look where this is, it starts to drift. So we get the sensation that it goes to the right and then it goes a bit slower in here. So it kind of feels like the bass slows down here and then it picks up speed. And that's mostly going in this direction, the horizontal direction. So a little bit of stuff there to clean up. And then here, this feels a little bit like we're throwing this too far out to the side. So what I might do, that's good. I would try to have the neck break a little bit more this way. And then a few more frames to continue down. So maybe 2 or 3 frames to settle, right? So all of a sudden we go from falling and we hit this wall and we don't move very much. And the whole direction has been set up that we've got a lot of momentum going this way. I don't think you're stopping the character enough to justify it holding still. So what I would try to do is build the landing pose, like an example. So you get to this point and that leads you immediately from here to then pushing off and accelerating off screen, okay? The way that you're stopping the lamp, it doesn't feel believable that it would stop, right? It feels very abrupt, like it hit something, and then it moves back. So like the whole direction that we've established is we're going this way, and then you're heading this way, and then all of a sudden we reverse and go that way. So it feels very odd. Also, it's like snap, and then we pull back, okay? And then here the jump, I think you could probably get the character, if you just angle them a bit more this way, they could probably get off screen. This feels like the base just goes up. It's not really going this way. So get the character off screen, right? It feels like all of a sudden something grabs the base and rotates. And especially here, you can see the lamp, it's in this position, goes forward, and then it starts to rotate back, right? So it feels like something is pushing it that way, and then it gets pulled that way. So there's a lot of different forces at work. Okay, Dominique?
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Daniela. Okay. I think the spacing, try to ease out a little bit more. So when you look at the spacing, it really crushes in at this point. So you're easing in, and I think I would try, instead of moving this much, I would really try to just ease out of that a little bit more gracefully. And then what happens here is you have 2 positions that are very close. So you could use that, right? So you could sort of have the lamp a little bit lower, ease out. And then when you get here, instead of just stopping here, you could go up a little bit higher. Maybe you could sort of tilt this up a little bit and have that feeling that we're still pushing up a little bit more. Okay? Feels like we kind of stick. Feels like the head of the lamp kind of sticks at that height and all of a sudden it accelerates up. Here it's a bit evenly spaced. If you look at the distance per frame, it's very linear. So just watch that. This is good. The ease in that you have here, we're slowing down. That's good. That's nice. And I think what I would do is maybe hold. The character doesn't completely hold. They always feel like they're kind of sort of slowly tilting forward. Have them look. It's okay to keep them alive a little bit, but it feels like they're drifting. They're drifting forward. And I would rather that you kind of contain the movement so that there's less distance to the right until you move. So it's really clear that I'm moving for a reason. I'm not just floating across, but I'm looking at something, and now I'm going to look at something else. Okay, just to separate the two movements a little more clearly. Right here, you get sort of the tangent that I mentioned, right? So like the edge of this is lining up just with the edge of the corner, which flattens things out. So an easy thing to do would be to just push the lamp head out just a little bit more, just so we don't have any overlap like that. That's just touching, okay? And the jump looks okay. Yeah, again, you're here. I wouldn't go this far in one frame. I would probably back that up and ease out. So just barely move and then save the big gap for here, right? So you start from here, right? So it'd be like you move a little bit, then you get to this frame. And even here, you could experiment. Do I need this one and this one? I would probably kill this one, just have this one. So you just have this, a little ease out, then to this one, and then lift straight up. And look at the base, right? The base goes this way and it seems almost like it's at the same height. Keep it going up. Because what happens is then this starts to feel like it has an arc going this way, but everything else is telling us we should be going that way. Okay?
Okay.
And the way down, this feels a bit linear. So if you sort of track this, it feels a bit like a straight line. And then right here, what I would try to do is if you have a straight neck here, right, then the head should be higher up. So I think if you keep pushing the head higher up, then you'll be able to connect to this spot. Because again, it feels almost like the head kind of takes a line and it kind of just moves off to the side here. So it actually feels like we're lower here than here. So it feels like we went up, but we should be going down. And then we go down again. And I think you need more frames for this. This feels very abrupt. It feels like we're just pushing the head down and it's coming back up. I would try to have a couple frames where you recover it down here. So sort of like have that low point and then ease out. So keep the spacing sort of there and gradually build up. And you probably don't need two of these. I would just stick with this one and then lift off. And again, this feels a bit evenly spaced. It's a bit linear. So really keep the spacing pop big, right? So I would probably, from here to here, I would kill this and then just go to this one. Make that first spacing gap really big as you move off screen. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Dylan, there are two, right?
Yeah, they're the exact same. I just
Okay.
accidentally
let's check.
uploaded it twice.
Okay, this first jump's looking pretty nice. The only thing is just this little snap of the head. This is more of a texture thing. So this almost feels like when a dog is playing with a bone, they're trying to push it to you, right? They're like pushing it at you. So it feels really deliberate, like a really big head move. So you could try to just tone it down. It
Yeah.
works, but it's strong. So I would try something that's less strong, right? So a little bit more subtle movement.
For sure.
Okay, and again, it's not something that's wrong. This is just more directorial style. Same note here with the character's head. I would rather they just look and they just kind of drift. So maybe what we should do is we should have a pose where you keep the head up a little bit more, right? Where they're kind of like, you know, I want to go here, right? Like what's going on? And then move and make that movement more direct, right? So stronger. So it doesn't feel evenly spaced, like they're just drifting in the wind, but it's like deliberate. It's like, I'm going to move over there. I'm going to look. And I think here at this point, I would hold, I don't know, 8 to 12 frames. Probably 8's a better number, but just hold a little bit just to get the idea. They're like, oh, that's far. And then they look up.
You add like a little bit of motion in here or something.
Yeah, yeah, just to hold that just a little. Jump's looking all right. What I would probably do is you have like a position like this and this, they're very similar. So what I would do is I would kind of, I would do this, make it really strong.
Mhm.
Kill this one. So you have like your low point, ease out, get to this, and then kill this one, and then get up higher. Okay. If you look at the distance you're traveling this way, watch this. This is the translate Z, I think. But look at the distance you travel here, and then right in here, it slows down. So it feels like there's heavy air, right? So we're slowing down in the air. So make sure that's a straight line, right? So Y is the only thing, right? Going up and down, that's slowing down. but this direction, that's all even. Okay, so make sure it's a straight line. Watch over here, the head of the lamp, that does feel like a bit linear. So what I would do is just have a look at the path, maybe break the arc a little bit, add a couple of points, favor the high position as much as you can. I try to, when I do a jump with the lamp like this, I try to keep the head of the lamp up a little bit higher, more hang time, so that it gives the base a chance to straighten out a little bit sooner
Mm,
and lead the lamp forward. Okay. Looking good otherwise.
cool.
Jimmy. Uh-oh. What do you got to turn off, Jimmy? Nerves. So re-export to play blast unless you want to lose points. Okay, turn off the nerves.
Hi.
So the first bounce, I think, I don't mind the base doing that, but it feels like the head is doing too much. It feels really violent and the base is kind of clump. So you have the right idea. I think I would just tone down the amount, okay? And the other thing with the head is you see how the head rotates, but it doesn't move. So that makes it feel very abrupt, like it's not moving anymore. So what you could do is you could move this up a little bit. Right, so you get a little bit of movement on the arm itself and the head just slightly, okay? Right here, you can keep the base locked. I think right now, this is moving and this is moving at the same time. So it doesn't feel like one's leading. So if you keep this on the ground, it'll feel like the head is leading, okay? When you move the base as well, try to use the rotation a bit more. If it stays flat, it will feel like it's gliding. You won't feel like there's any push. Like when your foot comes off the ground, you get that pattern of sort of kicking off and then landing. Even if it's very subtle, just vary the rotation so it doesn't feel so flat. Okay? Yeah, that's all fine. Looking over there. Now the jump feels a little floaty. I think you could probably take fewer frames. If the jump feels a little bit slow, so one way you could fix it is if you want to keep the same timing, then just have a bigger jump. So it'll justify it. It feels like for the amount of time you're in the air, for how short the jump is, you could definitely shave off some frames on either side. Okay? And again, you have like the base and the lamp head are doing the same thing. Low point, low point. So it should be 1, 2. So I would probably land with this thing straight and then take a frame or two for this to follow through. Right, so you have that separation that leads you into the next jump. Okay?
Thank you.
No problem. Diego. Wait, did I already review Diego?
We have less than 15 minutes.
Oh, 15 minutes left. Okay, we should be, yeah, out of luck. I'll do my best. Thank you. Set a timer for me, 2 minutes each, okay?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's looking good. Yeah, my only sticking point is maybe here. The spacing feels a bit rushed. So if you kind of count frames, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It feels asymmetric. So it feels like you're taking less time to go up than to go down. So I would just even that out, maybe split the difference and do 6 and 6. It felt like you were kind of doing 5 and 7. Borrow a frame from this side, give it over here. And this side, it feels much more like a straight line going down than the other side going up. So just watch that. Okay?
Thank you.
Andre. So that move felt too quick. So I think it's just the ease, right? So I think you just start, the spacing might be a bit big, right? So we have a big movement here, and then this one is less and less and less. So what I would try and do is just maybe back off that position a little bit and just see if that softens it just a little. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. You also have tangents as well, where like the base is just touching the edge of the cube. So just move the head, either clearly overlap with the cube or have it moved so that it no longer touches. So that would be over here. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. The arc, again, feels very linear. Watch feels like a straight line, and a straight line is a big pop right there. So watch the arcs, watch the spacing, make sure you're speeding up as you come close to the ground. And then here it feels like you stick. So you kind of stick to the ground and it feels like you stop moving this way, right in here. So you see like the head, it kind of locks in the same place. So all of a sudden all that energy kind of stops. So it has a bit of a stutter in the movement. Okay, that slows it down. Ivan.
Okay.
So Ivan, watch out for the spacing. It's a bit even. So make sure the biggest distance is the one just before you hit the ground. Right now, they feel very similar. Yeah, you're floating to the ground, so it's just easing into the ground a little too much. And then here, it's not really clear where the lamp is looking. It's kind of just drifting around. So I would try, instead of having it move around so much, do more with less. I would just hold this position. And then what I would do is don't have the lamp head just move up and lock, do an overshoot. Overshoot and then settle back. So that means you're going to go up, down, right? And then settle, look there, then look down. And then when you prepare, right, similar note, watch the spacing. It's very linear, it's very even. You need to have a bigger gap before you hit the ground. You also need overlap, right? So that the base lands first and then the head. So right now you have like the base and the head are kind of hitting their low point at the same time. So it should be this hits first, and I would probably have it land on an edge, nice and straight, and you need more time for the head to follow through and then lead into the next jump. Okay?
Okay.
Israel. No, it's looking all right. First couple bounces look nice. So right there, that feels a bit like a straight line. So I would try to arc the character down a little bit. So instead of it feeling so linear, just a little bit of an arc on the way back, just to make it feel a little more organic. The jump, I would try to push it up just a little bit higher. It's a bit shallow, and you have to really, if you're pushing the character very strong angles this way, I would try to get up a little bit more just to get a bit more height, use the screen space that you've got. And maybe slow it down just a little bit. I would probably put some more time at the high point and see if I can hang up there just a little bit more. Okay, it's working, but I would try to just have a little bit more of a big jump just because it seems like a life or death situation. Okay, well, that's looking good. Nice work. Alex. Aha. Yeah, it's a bit poppy right here. There's a big sort of click. So that's very abrupt. You need to do a little bit of an ease in instead of hitting a wall like that. Have it kind of move a little bit more, take more frames, ease in nicely. And there again, there's a bit of linearity in the movement. So the way the head moves forward and when it moves back, it basically feels like it's on a conveyor belt. It's just like parallel to the horizontal. So it just slides back. Put a little bit of an arc, dip down, dip up, but break the line, okay? And then here, the first movement you have is the head going this way. It should be up, right? So it feels like a corner. Okay, and then this direction feels very high, right? So that's what I would be expecting, is you'd be launching like that. And I think the base needs to move up faster so that you don't have a straight neck for so many frames. Get that into position. And then watch that spacing. You're floating to the ground with very even spacing. It should be biggest spacing just before you hit the ground. Right now it's very little, so you're losing out on a good impact. And then same note here, when you lift up, the head and the base are working at the same time. So this should lead, that should be the first thing that moves, and this should be the second thing. Right now they're doing exactly the same thing. Spacing is very even, and if you look at the head, it clicks into place and it kind of stays there, and then it moves down again, very straight line, very linear. So keep everything moving, right? Have it keep going up.
Okay, thank you.
Suke. How am I doing? How many more people? Ah, I'm scared. Okay. Okay, some of the movements are a bit abrupt. So watch the spacing. So stuff like this, where you have like very close, and then click one frame, and then again, very close and click. So watch the spacing. Make sure you're managing your ease in and out. And then you click up, hold, 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 hold. So big problem is just spacing. Okay, the jump. That looks okay. But again, this feels like it's just one direction. It should be going in this way, right? So it feels a bit too straight up and down. Lead the head at an angle. So it feels like we go up, and then it feels like there's a strong push that way. But it doesn't feel like the head of the lamp is doing that. It feels like something else is pushing it. Don't have so many frames with a straight neck. You probably have this bent by now. Lead up, and again, good spacing, but it's a bit linear, a bit like a straight line in there. Just watch the arc. And again, watch your spacing here with the head. It just goes straight that way and then down. So a lot of sort of noise in your spacing. That'd be the thing I would pay attention to the most. And this feels like there's not enough time. It's just 2 frames down, 2 frames up. It's really quick. That's 1/12 of a second. It's really fast. I think you need more time in there. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. June. So here, watch out for the spacing in the head of the lamp. It's staying in one place and then it's just tilting down. So it doesn't feel like it's falling, doesn't feel like it's going forward anymore. Watch that where it kind of clusters. Now the head starts to go back against the movement of the base. And then you have this really big swoop right here. You're stopping very abruptly. So it just complete halt, very abrupt. Have a little bit of overshoot. So go past the position and then settle. That's nice. I like the timing there. That's really good. They're quick, and then the spacing helps. Really big pop. That's nice. So I like the jump. Nice work. Very springy. On this side, you might need just an ease out. I think to go from this to this, you need just one position after this where you start to move up, just to show the audience I'm starting to go up, and that will lead you up here. The head, again, hits almost like a wall. So just make sure that when you get here, you probably want that to keep going up a little bit. If you're telling the audience, I'm moving this fast, it feels like the head all of a sudden is getting compressed down, like something is pushing it from going up further. The last few frames are very linear, just sort of, again, feels like a straight line. So just watch that. Kushik. That's pretty fun. So here again, spacing, there's sort of, we hit a key, and then we really abruptly move this way, and then you hit this point and then ricochet. So what you would need to do is probably ease into this end position and then ease out of it as well. So you would start to gradually increase the spacing, so it wouldn't feel so abrupt. This feels like we hit an invisible wall. So it's like bang, and we just go forward. Now I probably wouldn't stop here with a very straight neck like that. I would try to keep a slight bend, just so it doesn't feel like there's a lot of tension on there. Okay, we're gonna use that for the jumps. So you're gonna jump. Keep the base on the ground as long as possible. You could probably keep that there and then do that. That would be nice. And then I would probably start to have this start to bend a little bit. That'll get you there, keeping it straight that long, right? It feels very, very sort of, the lower body just dies. It doesn't have any flexibility anymore. It feels very rigid. And then here, watch out, your halfway point is like here. So your arc is kind of like a triangle like that. You just gotta try to round it out and move the middle a little bit more over here. This is very linear, spacing's very even. So watch the spacing going that way. And the jump, same thing. You have like very close spacing on the liftoff. You could probably get rid of this one and just have a bigger gap going from here to here. No, Martin, oops. So a little bit of a spacing push right here. So you're in midair. And if you look at the distance that you're traveling, all of a sudden in midair, right? You're moving like these tiny increments, then all of a sudden, pop, pop. So you get like this big whoosh of air. So just watch the spacing going this way, not just going up and down. Okay, and then you stop dead. Everything just stops dead. Again, maybe have the base hit first, then the head follows through and it could sort of settle down, right? Push down and antic overshoot and then settle. You look down, look up. Again, that's very straight in here, just like a straight line. Think about putting in some arcs, arc up or arc down. And with the jump, again, I would really, for the anticipation pose, I would probably push down more like this, right? Because otherwise you have this sort of odd angle here, which feels almost like you're lying down in the chair. Doesn't feel as energetic, right? That pose as opposed to this where you're leaning forward and then push up. I would try to maybe angle up a little bit more just to kind of get more of a rounded arc. And again, you're slowing down. So you have like this big distance this way. And then all of a sudden we hit heavy air. We're slowing down, slowing down, slowing down. And then we pick up speed. And this side is very linear, very evenly spaced. You need to get the spacing to increase before you fall. And then here, I wouldn't have it stop, right? There's no point. There's no need to have it stop there. I would just have it hit and just bounce off screen. Just takes more time. Sophia. Yeah, watch the spacing, very linear. And also I would say don't put on the motion blur. It doesn't help. Here you hit this high point.
I don't know why it is like that. I did it in my computer, and when I put it in Tenadici, it was like that, but I didn't do anything.
Oh,
with it.
really? Okay, that's odd.
So I don't know how to fix it. Can you help me with that? Or maybe
I'm not
Flor, I don't know.
sure. Did you change your Play Blast settings? So like, does it look like this on
No.
your machine?
No, nothing.
Okay, that's odd.
Mm-hmm.
Short answer is I don't know. So I would try to re-export and see if it looks okay on your machine. And then when you hand it in, see if there's anything going on there.
Okay.
Have a look. It's H264. It could,
Motion blur.
yeah, it does seem like the motion blur is on, but if you didn't put it on, then it shouldn't be there. It's the right codec, so that's good. Watch your spacing, very linear, very even. It takes like a lot of frames for that to clomp on the ground there, so it's very slow. Oh, we're hitting at 4 o'clock. You got to run for a pod meeting at all, Floor?
I have a class, so I gotta go prep for that.
Sure, no worries. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, yeah. Just
See you
let me know
later.
when the recordings are on.
Yeah, will do. Yeah, so the rest of you, if you've got your review, feel free to go. I'm going to stick around and finish everybody up that's here, okay?
We have a chance for resubmitting in the week, this model.
Let's see. I'll give you 1 extra day, okay? How does that sound? Tomorrow?
Not gonna have much time tomorrow. We have 3 classes.
Oh, okay. So you need 2 days? Today's Tuesday. Would that be Thursday? Sorry, it was Monday night you handed it in, so it'll be Wednesday night then? That is tomorrow,
Wednesday.
right?
Yeah, we all have 3 classes tomorrow
Okay.
until 10
Yeah.
p.m.
So then you got Wednesday, right? You got all of Wednesday to work on it.
No, like tomorrow is Wednesday.
Oh,
have 3
geez.
classes.
Yeah, okay. Then it would be Thursday, 9 p.m. How does that sound?
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, all right. So mostly spacing issues here, okay, Sophia? Everything is moving evenly. You don't have overlap and follow through. The head and the base are hitting exactly the same frame, right? So have the base land first, then the head overlap and follow through. The look is okay, but again, they're very, very linear movements, right? So there's not a lot of arcs going on. They just go in straight lines. Put a breakdown to break that straight line and make sure it feels a little bit more organic. The jump as well, it feels like here, you're taking too many frames. You could probably take fewer frames. So I would have like an ease out, get rid of this, get rid of that, have this, and then get rid of that, and then have this. So you have really big spacing pops. So you have like I'm on the ground, I get up really high, and then again, look at that triangle, boing, right? So you got to round that out. Use a motion trail. And then same thing here, very evenly spaced straight lines. So that should be increasing. This is good. This is what you want to do. Base first, and then the head overlaps a little bit. So a little more, you could have the head just overlap 1 more frame, and then lead yourself into the next jump. And again, that's very linear as well. Just track those points. Straight line. So we want arcs. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Version that's not here, but you can do mine last if it's easier.
Sorry, what was that?
I have a second version that's not loaded.
Okay. I'll move on and then just remind me at the end, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Aaron? Okay, fun ideas. I think the one thing is you stop. So this feels like you've stopped moving and all of a sudden you drop down. So you have like a hold, right? So that the carriage just stops. So what I would do is if you're falling, I would keep it going. So I would probably do this, don't do that, don't do that, and then keep going. right? So you have that feeling of connection that we're going down, and then the next jump. Same thing here, these big, you have like a pivot. It feels like we're pivoting right on this spot. So it feels like this is frozen in space. So it just feels like somebody just nailed the character right to that pixel and rotate right on there. And all of a sudden, boom, over one frame, it just jumps forward. So some spacing issues to deal with there. So fun, looks like you like doing a little bit of acting, that's cute. Again, say note about the movements though. They're very linear, just sort of A to B, straight lines, right? I would definitely use the neck and try and get some arcs in there. The jump could be a bit higher, feels a bit shallow, so I would try to move the character's high point up a little bit more. And then with the landing again, watch the spacing. It's very evenly spaced. This is like dead in the middle. So right before you hit the ground, that should be bigger distance. So use the motion trail, graph it or fix that. And again, I wouldn't have the character come to rest here. I would just have them compress into this and then shoot off and go into the next. There's nothing to do here. If there was some acting or a bit of performance, sure, but there's no benefit. So I would just have them fire off and leave screen. Okay?
Okay.
David, Evia. So again, here, I probably wouldn't have it completely straight. Wait for the moment where you need it. And then they hit the ground. And again, everything's timed the same. So the base goes down, the head goes down, the head goes up, the base goes up. You could leave the base on the ground a little bit longer to have the head lead. And then this feels, again, very linear. Feels like a triangle. If you track that point, it's very abrupt, right? That we hit, just watch the spacing there. Good. And wiggling the butt. That's good. But what I would probably do is you have this pose and this one, they're almost the same, right? So I would have this one, get rid of that one, get rid of that one, get rid of that one. And I would probably change this one to have a bit of a bend in it and then see if you can kind of kick up with a lot of big spacing, crest high to the high point over here and then lead down. Here again, you get the sense that the arc is actually undershooting rather than overshooting this way, right? Sort of slides in. So track that point, right? Follow your high point. And then here, again, you don't need this or this. You can get up a lot higher. So push the spacing, right? Look at your high point from here to here, big distance, and then cut, 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 and then make sure that's an arc. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Johnny. All right, that's looking okay. Some of the landings feel a little soft, like maybe you could take fewer frames for this to clomp to the flat position. So it feels like you're just easing in. So it's that heavy, it would just basically be one frame or two. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames to settle. But you're doing the right thing, overlapping the head and base. So that's good. Yeah, good. Yeah, I would just try and push the jump up a little bit higher, but spacing's working okay. I would try to just have one pose, like, and what I would do is I'd probably do this just to shoot them up a little bit higher. So you only have one frame where the neck is really straight and then have it start to bend a little bit, lead you into that position here. At the high point, it's not totally flat, but I would try to make sure it's really clear that this is not level on anything that's horizontal. I just want to avoid the horizontal as much as possible. And then right over here, the spacing does get very linear, very even. So make sure just before you hit the ground, you could probably kill this pose, hang on to this one, or maybe even this one. And then when you stick to the ground, I think here it feels like you slow down. So keep the momentum going. Look at the distance you travel here, and all of a sudden you slow down. So it just sort of kills the momentum. So have it keep going through. So maybe you could move this position back a little bit and then lead into the jump. So you have like, you could probably get rid of these frames and just have that swoop down and lead to the next jump a little bit more quickly. Okay. And then right at the end here, watch out for this. What happens is, again, it feels like this starts to pivot right here. It feels like the head stops moving this way and it actually tilts back. So keep the whole character moving off screen. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Annette.
Hello.
Hello. So I think here you have like the head and the base, they hit at the same time. So what I would try to do is offset that. Have a pose like this where it's kind of straight. Then this clomps, and then you take a couple frames for the head to overlap and follow through. Yeah, so this is a little better, right? This is good that you have the base hit first and then the head. The downside is the head is just going straight. So we don't have any sense that we're going forward anymore because it's just in one direction. So it feels a little abrupt. So make sure it feels like we're still moving in that direction. If you look at the spacing, it clusters right here. So it feels like the head is slowing down and then it speeds up again. So it's like slow, quick, slow. We want to make sure we just have one ease in. So it just falls, ease in, and then settle back up. Yeah, some of the movements of the head feel a little bit linear, like a straight line, A to B. So right in here, that's not too bad. That's an arc. The launch, definitely the launch. You could lock down the base so it doesn't slide across. I think you could have a pose like this, get rid of that one, get rid of that one, get rid of that one, and then build a pose like this. So you get up to the high point, right? Big spacing after you leave the ground. And the same thing here, you're floating to the ground, there's a little bit of sliding, got to lock that down, but at least you have the base landing first and then the head. So I think you need more time for the head to follow through. Don't let the base lead quite yet. For the second jump, what you should do is keep this locked until the neck and the head pull straight. So they still need time to go down and then lead up. And that'll make it feel like this is moving the base, right? So we want that to lead and that to follow. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you jump, again, there's a little bit of a slowdown, right? You can see the head. Look at how far it moves this way, and then the next frame. So it feels like it hits kind of a corner, kind of goes here, and then just goes that way. So all that forward momentum just dies. All right. And of course, if you don't need these extra frames, you can kill the export right here. So you could get rid of all these extra frames here. Okay. Oh, you have a second one. Was I looking at the right one, Danette?
I don't even remember.
Let's see. Yep, similar notes. Yep. Okay. Now
I submitted my, that in the beginning I told you that.
Yes. Okay. There we go. So
I correct mine too.
Sorry. I'm getting the right set 5.
Right. Is
Yep.
it okay if I leave because I have a TA?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, if you gotta go, you gotta go. No worries. The recording will be here.
It's Tom.
Thank you.
Okay, so I see Jimmy, you just submitted one. And Alejandro.
Yep.
Okay, is this everybody? Caitlin?
And Tom.
Oh, where's yours, Tom? I don't see it.
It's, I don't know, maybe his name.
Sorting by time, so hopefully it would be there. Did you make sure it was an MOV?
Yeah. I mean, I saw it is under. It's not at the beginning of the list.
Okay, yeah, because I'm sorting by time, so if it got.
Yeah, because I finished it before, but I just submitted right now.
Okay, gotcha. There.
Yeah, it's Tom. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so that's a bit better. That's a bit abrupt and jerky, the way the head kind of comes to a rest. You definitely have time here for that last little movement. And if you look, you can see the head and the base, they hit their low point the same frame. So you could have the head continue to drop for a couple frames and then settle back up just to slow it down. So have a bit more time for the head to settle. It feels very abrupt and very sharp. Yeah, the jump feels a little bit evenly spaced. So again, you could get bigger spacing. This should be a much bigger distance from here to here. You could really push that up, big distance, and really get the character up closer to the high point. Same thing on the way down, very linear. And even here, right, just watch the arcs and spacing. You have this huge pop from here to here. So you need more frames for the head to follow through and reach that point and lead. Okay? Alejandro. Okay, that's better. So it doesn't stop dead. This part at the beginning, right here, we have a couple frames here where this is very similar. And then we have this big change here. So what you could do is look at that line, and then you go here and then here and say, okay, is that the best place? It probably, maybe what would be better is to move this position a bit more here
Okay.
and then take this one and move that one over there and sort of push towards the extreme, right? So you kind of ease in.
Okay.
And then here, you gotta lock the base down. I think you could probably copy this key and maybe move it a couple of frames earlier, because this feels like we're very evenly spaced there. Clomp, have it land quickly. That's good to have the head settle back up, overlap. That's good. Still feels a bit sticky there. Yeah, get rid of this one.
Okay.
Yeah. And what I would do is here you have like an ease in. So if you look at the positions you have, right, like this and this, what I would do is really favor this one a little bit closer. So you have this and this right now. I would favor more here. So really ease out and then even move this one down a little bit so that you have this big change for this one. So it's kind of, you look at where you start and say, okay, well, I don't want to get that close to that one. So I'd put a point there and then keep cutting this down depending on how many frames you have. Then get rid of anything that's close and then pop to a bigger gap up here after that straight stretch pose. Okay?
Okay.
And even here, then you can kill that one, maybe even this one, and then have that, again, you could keep the landing gear tucked in a little bit more and then go from here to here just to sort of push the spacing there a little. Okay?
Thank you. Yes.
Caitlin. Okay. Yeah, this still feels a bit quick. Feels like you don't have a lot of time for this. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 frames, 1/6 of a second. So it's very rushed. So I would see if you could maybe take some more time for that jump to happen. And then right here, when this stops, right, this feels again like this is a different kind of spacing and timing, right? So if you're trying to show that we're breaking to a stop, I'm almost wondering if you wanted to do that, that might be my main idea, is that you might have them kind of jump in and land a little bit here and then have them skid to a stop. So, right, so you could just have them sort of make sure you make it clear that you jump in and then hit and then land. Okay? That might read a little bit better. Same thing here. This is really quick. So I don't mind the arc. The path is okay. But I think right over here, it's very sharp and quick. So I think I would just try to get a few more frames in there. It was just very quick. It's very bird-like. That's good. All right, yeah, big jump's all right. Again, same note, you could kill a few frames here, so that's good. Get rid of that one, or maybe what I would do is kill this one. Hang on to that one. This is the one you want. So get rid of that one, hang on to that one. And then this one, I would really try to push the spacing up a little bit more, maybe lift this up a little bit higher. Again, avoid anything that feels like a horizontal, right? Break that horizontal. Don't want it to feel like it's on a table. And the same thing here. This is a good landing. Kill this one and kill this one. Keep everything up, right, to the last possible moment, right? And as you fall, then you can tilt the head up, right, as it starts to straighten out and get closer. So you get that feeling of drag, right? Even here, you could probably tilt the head up a little bit more. Okay. Between here and here, that's a big gap. So I think it's okay for the base. You might be able to get away with it, but I think you need one frame in between here, from here to here, at least one. Same thing here. This feels way too quick. It's just really quick, just ricochet, and then we're back up. So take a little bit more time in there. Okay?
Thank you.
Tom. Boom, boom. So here the head is too shaky. I think there's a lot of stuff going on here with the head. So here, again, the spacing, look at how even that is. It's actually slowing down, right, as it comes to the ground. So that should be, again, I would probably get rid of this one. You have get rid of this one. You have like this to this, maybe this one, and then have a little bit of drag, right? So you need a bit of time. This should land. And then from here to here, you can take some more time, have the head overlap. So this lands first. This takes a couple frames to settle down to that low point and then lead up to the next bounce. And then here what you have is you go up and then you arc over and this comes up, right? So it doesn't quite feel like a jump. It feels almost like somebody's at the gym, right? Doing crunches, right? So it doesn't feel like a jump. You want to make sure that it feels like, okay, we're jumping. If I'm pulling this hard, right, the head should still be going up. The whole character should still be going up a little bit. So it might be that maybe this one you need to adjust. Maybe we shouldn't go to a completely straight neck. Maybe we need to just reduce it so it's a smaller little hop and you don't have to straighten the neck up so much. Okay, then you come to a very abrupt stop, right? There's a lot of spacing issues in here. We're going down, right? Then we go back. So we were going to the right, now we go to the left, right? We pivot up and then we shoot forward and then we stop dead on one frame, everything. So I think you need to do a little bit of a settle there. Now the jump feels okay. You could probably take some frames out from either side. If it's a little slow, a little bit triangular, round out the arc. And again, big issue is spacing. It's a bit evenly spaced on takeoff and landing. I would like to see bigger spacing between takeoff and landing. So just before you hit the ground, that should be much bigger spacing. Okay? All right. And that's everybody. Okay, thank you for sticking around. I know it's very, very late. I'm gonna stop the recording. I'm gonna let everybody go.
I just